Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you just landed here. I'm Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond. Taping this on Sunday morning. It'll go live probably later on this afternoon or early evening on Sunday. Couple of things, like while we were all so busy, looking at that, what happened in the White House between Mamdani and Kanks, I call him Kanks, on Friday, there was other really big news happening around Muskrat and X, the media platform X. We now understand that apparently in the midst of this MAGA meltdown, over that meeting, over the elections, over so many things that are happening right now, right? MAGA, the MAGA movement and the loyal MAGAists are just like, they don't know who to believe, what to do. Now you got this faction around MTG, and are they going to stick with her? Or now that she's exited stage left, is that over? Lots of stuff going on. But in the midst of all of that, y'all, we find out that there was a feature that was turned on. Who turned it on, we don't know, on the X platform that said where it was called, what's it called? About this account. There was an about this account feature that was turned on so that people on users on X could see where accounts were based. Well, lo and behold, many of you probably heard by now that a lot of these major accounts, like with millions of followers, one of them in particular, MAGA Nation X, had over 400,000 followers, 1 million followers on something called Ivanka News. Come to find out, these accounts are coming out of Russia, Nigeria, Eastern Europe, like got nothing to do with the United States, right? Here's what I'm wondering. So of course now you got Steve Bannon jumping back on his call for, which he did earlier this year, for Muskrat to be deported, right? No love lost between those two, between Muskrat and Steve Bannon. But now he's starting to sound the alarm again. I told y'all he needs to be deported. In the wake of that discovery that about this account has exposed that all of these major MAGA accounts are coming out of, are overseas. So then they snatched it down. They were like, oops, who did that? I find it really hard to believe, the control freak that he is. I find it hard to believe that Elonia did not know that was happening. Here's my question. Is he trying to co-opt MAGA? Is that part of his get back and his revenge, Muskrats, for being basically kicked out of DC, right? We've seen him creeping back in. I've talked about, we know that he was at that dinner last week with the Saudi Arabian crown prince. So, he's there, and he's sort of in the background, and he's trying to, continue to ingratiate himself with Kanks. But to have this sort of, not only the idea that these accounts, these major accounts with huge numbers of MAGA followers in the US are coming from overseas, and that these accounts are pushing the MAGA movement ever farther to the right. With a lot of this, we've talked about, the Nazi situation and sort of normalizing the calls for people going further in that direction. Is Muskrat on a revenge tour, basically? Is he trying to co-opt MAGA spirit? Is Muskrat trying to co-opt MAGA? Is he trying to help, disintegrate, disband, cause chaos within the MAGA movement? Is that part of his agenda? Is Muskrat, because he had to know. We have strength. Ooh. At the bottom of the deck after I shuffled, strength. He's refusing to be sidelined. And I just heard Spirit just said, is he going to try and use this to come to the rescue? Because remember, when after the elections, what did Muskrat post? Time to pull some rabbits out of a hat going into the 2026 midterms. Is he trying to prove his power and necessity to Kanks? Spirit. They call it the teacher in this deck, but it stands for the Hierophant, which is one of my major cards for government structures, tradition structures. Did he know, did Muskrat know ahead of time? I feel like this is sort of a duh question, but let me ask, Spirit, did Muskrat know about this account feature being turned on and that it would expose where these major accounts are coming from, where they originate? Did he know about that? He most certainly did. Here comes the Emperor. All right, they call it the sacred masculine in this deck. Yeah, he knew. He 100% knew. Because come on, that's his platform. And again, he's a control freak. So he manufactured that to allow that discovery to become public. And then once it did, yank it back so that people who have been following those accounts, either they're going to come off, but then they'll unfollow those accounts perhaps, but then they don't know who to follow. Spirit, is that what Musk is doing? Muskrat, is he co-opting is that his attempt to co-opt the movement on his behalf? Ace of Swords. Now, if you're with me, you know when I get my aces, that's my spirit guides telling me, yes, I'm on track, right? And it comes in swords, communications, data, right? Social media. So thank you, Spirit. Thank you for that confirmation. So is this also Muskrat's attempt to prove and make himself, his platform, a necessity? Is he going to use this as a bargaining chip to be a part of the 2026 elections, the midterms, and the data and the information that goes out? Is he trying to use this to his advantage to say, I've got my finger on the pulse of your followers, and it's up to me to decide what goes forward and what does not, how these accounts, whether they flourish or whether they're flagged? Is that his game? Is that at least part of his game to try and prove how necessary he is? Ten of Cups. That's the MAGA faithful, families, and the MAGA faithful. And Three of Wands. He wants to continue to be a power broker as things go forward. Now, is this also because he is afraid of deportation? Is he concerned about cause for his deportation? The Knight of Pentacles, does Muskrat think he still has one up over Steve Bannon in terms of who really has Kanks's ear or influence with Kanks? The Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands. That's the bottom. There's a power struggle. And we're going to see more of that, you all. There's a power struggle because as people tick off in Trump's, in Kanks's orbit, you've got these folks, the Steve Bannons of the world, the Muskrats of the world. You've got these folks who are still vying and fighting each other for influence with him. And the fact that he needs both of them, with Bannon's still very substantial following and influence. You've got the two of them playing off each other for his attention and for his validation. The Knight of Cups. They're playing favorites and they're playing off of each other. Spirit, will the MAGA faithful get turned off by all of this? Is this going to cost Kanks and his administration? Is this going to cost them what he's doing? The Five of Pentacles, yes, there are people who are going to tune out the MAGA base. They're going to absolutely tune out. And remember, Spirit is reminding me, that had a lot to do with what happened during the campaign season last year. So many said that where the Dems fell short in their social media messaging, that was their strong suit on the right side, right? On the GOP side. This use of social media. And the Eight of Wands, communications, right? That's the card that Muskrat is trying to play right now, is I have a stronghold over an extremely effective and still growing platform like X. And so we're going to put it out there to throw the base off even further. Now you don't know who to believe. You don't know which accounts to follow. But I snatched it off so that now I can come to you and say, I can monitor which accounts go forward, which accounts send messaging to your folks, and which are not allowed to do so. And there's the Two of Swords. Confusion. Muskrat's agenda right now, you all, is to sow seeds of confusion and doubt within the MAGA base, so they don't know where to go get information. But then on the back end of that, he wants to say, but I'm also the person who can correct all of that on your behalf. If you do right by me, if you tell Bannon, go somewhere and take a seat, this is still my guy and I'm here to stay. Am I right about that, Spirit? The Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords. Why are they here? Queen of Cups, Queen of Swords. Why are they here regarding Muskrat? The Six of Swords moving forward. I think this might be a Laura and the Three of Pentacles working with someone. You all, I think this feminine energy that's appearing, the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords, the people who know the Laura Loomers of the world, right? And people like that who still have Kanks's ear and do have influence with him. So that's part of it as well. If Muskrat can convince them to side with him over the from Steve Bannon, he's going to try and use those relationships as well to stay in the mix in 2026 and prove the extent to which, if you're not careful, I can use this platform to either help you or hurt you. Up to you. That's what's happening, you all. Wow. Didn't see that coming. Didn't see that. I mean, although why not, right? Why not? After even going back to 2016 or earlier on when, election interference was huge around Russia. But now these accounts are coming from India. I saw India, Nigeria, Eastern Europe, and Russia. So they're all over the place. And he knew about this. Muskrat knew about this. And these accounts are huge. Oh, they got a mess on their hands with that. All right, you all. Now, we're also finding out that this 28-point peace plan to get a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine that the U.S. presented, and it came out all over the news. This is what the U.S. is this is what this administration is behind, and how completely tilted towards Russia it is, right, as it's currently worded. Now you got Marco Rubio and others jumping up and saying, we were involved in that plan, but come to find out that plan was supposedly for entertainment purposes only, presented during a clandestine meeting in Miami in October between Steve Witkoff, among others, Jared Kushner, and this envoy or, Russian operative, somebody Dmitriev, right? So what we're hearing now is the plan that went forward that we just heard about last week. All of this basically Ukraine throw up your hands and give everything to Russia. And we're hearing that plan was presented during this secret meeting in Miami from this Russian envoy, Dmitriev, to Witkoff and Kushner, among others. And that's the plan that went forward. So now you got Marco Rubio scrambling and saying, wait a minute, no, none of that's true. This plan was developed based on input from Russia and input from Ukraine, none of which makes sense because of how it was worded. What in that plan sounded like it came from Ukraine? Zelensky's cabinet, anybody? What part of that plan? Which was basically, okay, Ukraine, you're going to have to give up your land. You can't have armies. Your armies are going to have to be capped off at a certain point. You'll never be a part of NATO. Like, what part of that sounds like it came from Ukraine, right? I want to ask, is Rubio going to take a fall here? Is Rubio going to be left with a lot of egg on his face because he's already trying to do cleanup duty? And he knows Secretary of State, and all of this happened. All of this went public, and now if you were not in on that meeting in Miami to begin with, which apparently he wasn't, then hey, dude, what's up? What's up with you? All right, want to take a look at Marco Rubio. We have the Two of Pentacles. So he's going to try and go talk to some folks and try to, hammering out a deal. Twos, partnerships, agreements. He's now going to try and take the helm of what gets released publicly in these negotiations. We have the Four of Wands. Yes. Showing the U.S.'s commitment to being a major player to broker a deal. The Wheel of Fortune, that's interesting, because this is a really karmic card, as we know, ruled by Jupiter, and what grows and expands. I think there's going to be more of a mess than Rubio is prepared to handle around this. Why? Because you do have Steve Witkoff, and you do have the real estate. This Dmitriev from Russia is apparently also involved in investments in real estate, all of it going back to the money. And how does Rubio fit into that equation? We have the King of Cups who shows up. That's one of the players. This may even be this Russian guy Dmitriev who is trying to play the statesman. I'm here to help you, but I also read that he's under whoever this envoy Dmitriev is. He's already been sanctioned by the U.S. Like, what was he even doing in Miami, talking to this crew and developing a plan that apparently was released. All right, and we have the Seven of Pentacles. So essentially, Rubio's going to have to step up. So is this going to cause knocking of heads between Rubio and Witkoff? Are Rubio and Witkoff going to get ready? Are they going to go at it? Are they going to have to go at it? The Knight of Swords, they call it Messenger, the Knight of Swords. And the Five of Wands, that's going at it. If you know anything about tarot, Five of Wands is conflict. Is Rubio going to get sidelined on this? Is he going to get sidelined? Basically. The Empress. I think Susie Wiles is going to come into this mix and try and help Rubio. And because I just got the Queen of Swords after that. So she's going to try and navigate between Witkoff and Rubio. But the bottom line, you all, is what was done was done. The Three of Wands, it's already taken on a life of its own. The idea that the embarrassment and the idea that this came out, it was put out as a U.S.-backed deal agreement, right? That this 28-point plan, that the U.S. was like, this is the best, this is what we think needs to happen. And you got Rubio saying, no, that's, this was our doing. This was not, we didn't just take what Russia told us to do and put it out there, but it's too late. The horses have already left the barn. The Queen of Wands and the Five of Cups. This is the White House trying to continue to spin it. I see a little bit of Caroline Leavitt in the midst of this. She's already spoken out about it to try and do some damage control. But who believes a word that comes out of her mouth at this point? And the Five of Cups is continuing disappointment in what is being seen as a continued weakening of Kanks's power. How did it even get to this point? Your son-in-law sat in on this meeting and you allowed this to happen. Six of Pentacles, trying to renegotiate the levers of power over this. And at the end of the day, because now you got Europe in the mix, right? European leaders in the mix that are like, no how, no way does this even sound, this doesn't even sound like, it doesn't make any sense. And this cannot be this isn't even a start. This is a non-starter for us to really seriously get a peace deal in place. This is a non-starter. So that's the deal. They're increasingly, bottom line, what Spirit is saying, you all, Rubio is not going to be able to fix this because the wheels on the bus that are already in motion are sidelining him. And so he's Secretary of State. He's in that position to have to go out and try and say, I got this. Don't worry about it. When in fact it's not true. And he's going to have to try and get a lot of help from inside the White House and the administration to help him straighten this out. And with Witkoff still being given his marching orders to continue to do what he's been doing. Going to be really, really interesting. All right. Last thing I want to look at today, you all. Keystone Kash. So he's been is he going to be wind up under investigation by Congress? And the reason I'm asking that, you all, is we know that he's been willy-nilly around how he's been running things, right? Since he's become head of the FBI. We know also, keeping in mind, Bongino and others were never even given a polygraph test. We're never even given any kind of measures to secure. They have absolute security clearances. They are getting the same, if I understand it, they're getting the same daily report that is sent to Kanks, national security advisories. They're getting access to all of that information. And they were not even, when Keystone Kash appointed Bongino and a couple of other high-ranking officials, they were not even put through the vetting process with polygraph tests, etc. So he's already being looked at extremely like, okay, all right, dude. Now we understand he's been using on the taxpayer dime, he's been using private jets for him and his country singer girlfriend to jet around or jet her around to whatever concerts. But now the latest thing we hear is that Keystone Kash has ordered full entire SWAT teams to cover his girlfriend when she goes out and, to various events, right? So as I think yesterday, I wrote it down. Where did she go? I don't remember where she was, but she was at she was at an NRA event in Atlanta yesterday, right? Or National Rifle Association. So there was some big event in Atlanta because she's a country music person. I ain't even gonna say star. I never heard of her. Alexis, what's her name? Alexis Wilkins or something like that. Yeah, Alexis Wilkins. Who knew? But he is ordered when she was gonna go to this NRA convention or whatever in Atlanta yesterday. He ordered a full SWAT team, not just regular everyday security, but a full SWAT team on the taxpayer dime. Is Congress gonna go after Keystone Kash? Is he going to be made to answer for how he's using? We have the King of Wands, that's him, thinking he's bigger than the law, or he is the law and he is the man. Is Congress going to go after him for the misappropriation of strength? He's got it coming, you all. I don't know when. I don't know about timing, but the glare of the spotlight is on him so big. Because this wasn't even him. This is his girlfriend traveling. And the Six of Wands. Yeah. This is a growing, and coming in fire, this is a growing sense within Congress as they try to reconfigure themselves, who really has power here and the power of the purse. And this is being done on the taxpayer's dime. Yeah. And the teacher, they call it the teacher, the Hierophant, again in this day. Yes. Watch for it. Keystone Kash is going to wind up under serious investigation for a host of reasons, but this particular situation where due to your personal relationship with this woman, you are putting her on jets, putting a full SWAT team around her. Nah, that's not going to go. Will Patel be ousted? Where are we? Almost in December. Will Patel be ousted by the first quarter of there I go with timing after I said I wouldn't do it. But let's see. Doesn't hurt to ask. Spirit, will Patel be out? Will he be ousted from his position the first quarter of 2026. We have the high priestess. There's a chance of it because it feels like, also remember, the high priestess can be secrets, and so it feels like there's more that will come to light. Is that what you're showing me, Spirit? That even in this, as egregious as this is, there will be more that comes to light, where Patel has utilized the hermit, analysis and detail and study, and him also being increasingly isolated. He has no friends. Blondie's already, or Blondie as we call her, Blondie's already in hot water. And it's not going to get easier for her. I will be looking more at her. She's got that 30-day so-called window to go ahead and release all of the files. So the heat is going to continue to get turned up on her, but she can't help him. He has nowhere to turn. Patel, he has nowhere to turn. And the Three of Cups. This is the holidays. We're going to get a lot more information around him between now and the first of the year, New Year's, because we got Thanksgiving, Xmas holidays, Christmas holidays, and New Year's. The Three of Cups is often a card that signals holidays or celebratory times. The holidays are going to bring forth a lot more information around Patel that Congress is going to zero in on and be ready to go after his butt. Two of Wands. So that also feels like within the next couple of months, and future focus, like laser focused on him and everything that he approves. He's in trouble. He's in big trouble. Really, really interesting. All right, you all. Want to, check in with you all. I'm going to end that on this note. I'll be back probably on Wednesday. By all means, keep your chins up and your shoulders back. And please remember to breathe. Amazing, amazing energy that we're still seeing coming out of North Carolina regarding the, this pushback, and not in our state, not in our cities. We will not allow you to do this to us. So we're seeing a lot of turnout yesterday. Major media didn't want to cover it, but if you follow Threads, has been doing his thing, and other platforms. People turned out for that no regime, get rid of the regime. The mall in DC was filled. At least 100,000, if not more, is what I saw. So again, not covered, but this energy and this collective energy that is persisting, that continues to grow, that is solidifying, and I think is going to carry us well, all the way through 2026 and beyond, to get us through that ticker tape. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint, right, you all? But we got this. Breathe. Right? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for hyping my videos. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for new subscribers. Thank you for just being a part of this community, and letting your voices be heard and standing tall and strong during this time, because collectively is where the power lies. It is about we the people, 150%. All right, you all. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye.